Hello students, today we are going to study Pelton wheel turbine. The Pelton wheel turbine or Pelton turbine is a tangential flow impulse turbine. The water strikes the bucket along the tangent of the runner. The energy available at the inlet of the turbine is only kinetic energy. So the pressure at the inlet and outlet of the turbine is atmospheric. So this turbine is used for high head. Now in this figure, the hydroelectric power plant is shown, in which the turbine which is used here is the Pelton wheel turbine. Now the water from the reservoir flows through the penstock, at the outlet of which a nozzle is fitted, which is shown here. The nozzle increases the kinetic energy of the water flowing through the penstock. It means that if we connect a nozzle at the outlet of a penstock, it increases the kinetic energy of the water that is flowing through that penstock. At the outlet of the nozzle, the water comes out in the form of a jet and strikes the bucket, that is vanes of the runner. So the main parts of Pelton wheel turbines are: the first one is nozzle and flow regulating arrangement. Second one is runner and bucket. Third one is casing, and the last one is braking jet. Now we will discuss one by one each and every main part in detail, starting with the nozzle and flow regulating arrangement. The amount of water striking the bucket, that is vanes of the runner, is controlled by providing a spare in the nozzle, which is shown like this. Now if we pull this spare back, it will increase the amount of water flowing through the penstock and nozzle, and if we move this spare in the forward direction, then it will reduces the amount of water flowing through the nozzle. So the spare is a conical needle just like this, which is shown here, which is operated either by a hand wheel or automatically in an axial direction depending upon the size of the unit. When the spare is pushed forward, which I had told you earlier, into the nozzle, the amount of water striking the runner is reduced. It means that if we have to reduce the amount of water, then we have to push this spare in the forward direction. On the other hand, if the spare is pushed back, or if it will be taken back in the backward direction, then the amount of water striking the runner increases. It means that the amount of water coming out from the nozzle increases. So that is the nozzle and flow regulating arrangement. Now we will move towards the next type of part, that is runner with bucket. Now this figure shows runner of a Pelton wheel. It consists of a circular disc on the periphery of which a number of buckets evenly spaced are fixed, which is shown here just like this. The shape of the bucket is of a double hemispherical cup or bowl. Each bucket is divided into two symmetrical parts by a dividing wall, which is known as splitter. The jet of water strikes on the splitter. The splitter divides the jet into two equal parts and the jet comes out at the outer edge of the bucket. The buckets are shaped in such a way that the jet gets deflected through 160 degree or 170 degree. The buckets are made of cast iron, cast steel, bronze, or stainless steel depending upon the head at the inlet of the turbine. Now we will move towards the third main part, that is the casing. Now this figure shows a Pelton turbine with a casing. The function of a casing is to prevent the splashing of the water and to discharge water to tail race. It also acts as safeguard against accidents. It is made of cast iron or fabricated steel plates. The casing of the Pelton wheel does not perform any hydraulic function. So that is the functioning of casing. Now we will move towards the next main part, that is the braking jet. When the nozzle is completely closed by moving the spear in the forward direction, the amount of water striking the runner reduces to zero. But the runner, due to inertia, goes on revolving for a long time. Now to stop the runner in a short time, a small nozzle is provided which directs the jet of water on the back of the vane. Now by striking the water to the back of the vane, we will just stop the rotation of that runner. So this jet of water is called the braking jet. So the functioning of braking jet is to stop the runner in a short duration of time. Now we will see the velocity triangle and work done for Pelton wheel. Now this both figure shows the shape of the vanes or bucket of the Pelton wheel. The jet of water from the nozzle strikes the bucket at the splitter which splits up the jet into two parts which we had discussed earlier. These parts of the jet glides over the inner surface and comes out at the outer edge. Now this figure shows the section of the bucket at ZZ section. The splitter is the inlet tip and outer edge of the bucket is the outlet tip of the bucket. Now the inlet velocity triangle is drawn at the splitter and outlet velocity triangle is drawn at the outer edge of the bucket. Let H is the net head acting on the Pelton wheel. Therefore, it will be write it as Hg minus Hf, that is the gross head minus head loss due to friction. So this will be the value of net head. Now we know that head loss due to friction will be equals to FLV square upon 2GD. So we will write it as Hf equals to 4FLV square upon 2G into capital D. Here d is the diameter of penstock, n is the speed of wheel in rpm, capital D is the, or we can write it as, to differentiate the diameter of the wheel and diameter of penstock, we will write it as, the asterisk will be known as diameter of penstock and capital D will be known as diameter of the wheel, and small d will be diameter of the jet. So velocity of jet at inlet, that is V1, will be equals to under root of 2gh, and u is equals to u1 equals to u2, which will be equals to pi dn upon 60. The velocity triangle at inlet will be a straight line where VR1 will be equals to V1 minus U1, or we can write it as V1 minus U. We know that VW1 will be equals to V1 and alpha equals to 0 degree and theta equals to 0 degree. So from velocity triangle at outlet we have VR2 equals to VR1 and VW2 equals to VR2 cos phi minus U2. The force exerted by the jet of water in the direction of motion will be equals to Fx equals to rho into A into V1 in bracket VW1 plus VW2. As the angle B is an acute angle, positive sign should be taken. Also, this is the case of series of vane. The mass of water striking is rho A V1 and not rho A VR1. So, area of jet, that is small a, will be equals to pi by 4 into d square, that is the diameter of jet. Now work done by the jet on the runner per second, that is work done per second by the jet on the runner, will be equals to Fx into u. Now we will put the value of Fx here, that is rho into small a into V1 VW1 plus VW2 into u, that will be in Newton meter per second. Now power given to the runner by the jet will be equals to rho a V1 VW1 plus VW2 into u upon 1000, that will be in kilowatt. Now work done per second per unit weight of water striking. So it will be equals to work done per second per unit weight of water striking per second will be equals to rho into A into V1 VW1 plus VW2 into U upon weight of water striking per second. So it will be equals to rho into A into V1 VW1 plus VW2 into U upon rho into A into V1 into G. So on cancelling out numerator and denominator, we will have 1 by G in bracket VW1 plus VW2 into U. That is the work done per second per unit weight of water striking per second. Now we have to calculate the kinetic energy of jet per second. So we know that the energy supplied to the jet at inlet is in the form of kinetic energy and is equals to half mv square. So kinetic energy of jet per second will be equals to half of mv square. Now we know that the value of m is rho a v1 into v1 square, that is the kinetic energy of jet per second. Now we have to find the hydraulic efficiency of turbine, so it will be equals to work done per second divided by kinetic energy of jet per second. So we will put the values here, that is rho into A into V1, VW1 plus VW2 into U upon half of rho A into V1 into V1 square. Now on rearranging this, we will have 2 into VW1 plus VW2 into U upon V1 square. Now we know that VW1 will be equals to V1 into VR1, which will be equals to V1 minus U1. So it will be write it as V1 minus U. Similarly, VR2 will be equals to V1 minus U. VW2 will be equals to VR2 cos phi minus U2. So it will be equals to VR2 cos phi minus U, or we can write it as V1 minus U cos phi minus U. Now substituting the value of VW1 and VW2 in this equation, we will have efficiency of this turbine, that is hydraulic efficiency eta H, will be equals to 2 into V1 plus V1 minus U into cos phi minus U into U upon V1 square. Now on rearranging this, we will have 2 into V1 minus U in bracket 1 plus cos phi into U upon V1 square. That is the value of hydraulic efficiency. Now the efficiency will be maximum for a given value of V1 when d by du of hydraulic efficiency will be equals to 0. So on differentiating this and equating to 0, we will have 2v1 minus 4u equals to 0. So u will be equals to v1 by 2. Now this equation states that hydraulic efficiency of a Pelton wheel will be maximum when the velocity of the wheel is half the velocity of the jet of water at inlet. Now the expression for maximum efficiency will be obtained when we substitute u equals to v1 by 2. So maximum efficiency, that is eta h maximum, will be equals to 2 into v1 minus v1 by 2 in bracket 1 plus cos phi into v1 by 2 upon v1 square. Now on subtracting or cancelling out numerator and denominator term, we will have 1 plus cos phi upon 2, that is the maximum hydraulic efficiency. Now some points we have to remember for Pelton wheel, that is the important points. The first one is velocity of the jet at inlet, that is V1 is equals to Cv into under root of 2gh, where Cv is the coefficient of velocity whose value ranges between 0.98 to 0.99, and h is the net head on turbine. Now the second point which we have to remember is the velocity of wheel u. which will be equals to phi into under root of 2gh, where phi is the speed ratio and it generally varies between 0.43 to 0.48. Now the third important point is the angle of deflection of the jet through the bucket is taken as 165 degree if no angle of deflection is given. Now the fourth point is the mean diameter or the pitch diameter capital D of the Pelton wheel is given by 60 U upon pi n, which we had find out from the formula U equals to pi d n upon 60. Now the fifth point is jet ratio. It is defined as the ratio of the pitch diameter of the Pelton wheel to the diameter of the jet, that is m equals to capital D by small d, which will be equals to 12 for most of the cases. The next one will be number of buckets on a runner is given by z equals to 15 plus d upon 2d, which will be equals to 15 plus 0.5 m. And the last one is number of jet. Now, number of jet is obtained by dividing the total rate of flow through the turbine by the rate of flow through a single jet. That are the 7 important points which we have to remember in case of Pelton wheel turbine. That is all about the Pelton wheel turbine. Thank you very much, students.